Today we're covering the Super Mario Bros. Movie.
And I know what our fans must be thinking. How did these gentlemen get sneak peeks to the brand new Super Mario Galaxy movie? Well, guess what?
We did.
We didn't. So, what are we doing instead?
We're covering the 1993 Super Mario Brothers movie.
That's great. So
It's exciting.
It's so exciting. Hope you're ready for this adventure to the Mushroom Kingdom like you've never seen it before and probably never wanted to. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Reel Bromance Podcast.
And welcome back to Season 2, Episode 4 of the Reel Bromance Podcast.
Woo woo! You ready for some adventure today?
Oh, I'm ready for, a lot of adventure.
There's tons to be had.
There's a lot of feelings about this movie.
This was a long time coming. So in going along with our video game series, we are going to finally handle the classic Super Mario Brothers, the movie.
You're throwing that term around fast and loose for this 1993.
It is a classic. Movie. It's Super Mario Bros. 3, 1993. Super Mario Brothers, 1993. This was a movie. I think we could agree on that. It was a movie.
I guess in the loosest form,
it was a film. It was a cinematic thing.
I mean, the amount of trouble that I had to go to find a copy of this movie.
Yeah,
it was crazy. I don't think the powers that be wanted me to see this movie, and I think they were right to do so.
Yeah, there was it was definitely hard to find, and I'm sure we'll get into some of the reasoning, most likely why, but it was it was definitely a classic. Going back to it was interesting because I liked to as a kid I saw it one way, and as an adult I see it the opposite. Terrible. I don't want to spoiler alert. But we'll get into it. So how about we start off with a little recap first so we can, because other people might not be able to find this movie either, and they maybe want to know, what was Mario's first adventure like in the movie theater? Was because it was everything you hoped for and more.
It was disappointing.
It was disappointing.
Let's just get into
Let's get into it.
Movie recap.
All right, so let's recap this bad boy. For those of you who may not be able to find the movie, we want to give a quick recap, and we're sticking to more succinct recaps just so we don't bore you with the details. But as you would expect, this movie is about two plumbers, Mario and Luigi Mario. That's why they got it to be the Mario Brothers, because that's the last name, which, it's terrible. It starts off when we find out a little infographic, a little animation, that Earth a long time ago was obviously inhabited by dinosaurs, obviously, and mammals came to be at the same time, not according to science, but according to the movie. And when the asteroid hit, somehow the mammals survived, and the dinosaurs, they didn't die. They went to a different dimension, and they evolved into human beings as well, go figure, but from dinosaurs, whereas us, we remained from mammals and formed into people from apes. And that is how it works. Two parallel universes, two Manhattans. Of course, there's this Dinohattan, if I remember, Dinosaur Hatton, if I remember correctly. Dinohattan. And the story starts off with the queen of the dinosaurs coming over to send her daughter, the Princess Daisy, not Peach, Princess Daisy, over to our world, and where she grows up and does not know, she hatches from an egg and she doesn't know she is part dinosaur. Fast forward to modern day, which was 1993 at this time. The Mario Brothers are doing their thing as plumbing. They're trying to find jobs and making it happen. Luigi is an orphan in this movie. He's actually adopted by Mario's family. So he's played by John Leguizamo, and Bob Hoskins plays Mario. So the story begins with the dinosaur people, Bowser or Koopa in this movie, because I don't think we had the name Bowser yet. Koopa in this movie, played by Dennis Hopper, who was pretty good. He sends his minions over to steal Daisy because she's the key to merging their world. He wants to make dinosaur world and people world meet, and then he's going to basically destroy humanity and take over our world because it's nicer. I don't know, dinosaurs just like there's no crap.
And there's not fungus all over.
There's no fungus, yes. So Daisy meets the Mario Brothers, gets captured, and of course they had to go save her. And so when they first arrive at the Dinohattan, they see that it is covered in fungus, and therefore the Mushroom Kingdom, because fungus is a mushroom, mushrooms are fungus. That's their loose. Anyway, they go there, they do some fighting with some named characters that we recognize but don't look anything like they do in the games. And eventually they are able to defeat Bowser, Koopa, who is a Tyrannosaurus Rex in human disguise, and gets de-evolved into a dinosaur at the end until he's de-evolved again into a flop of crap. Slime, primordial slime, I believe.
There you go, it's primordial slime.
So, and it's done from their de-evolution devices that Bowser created, and that's so they use it on him. He is defeated. They meet some friends along the way, and eventually they return home, and all is well that ends well, except in the last scene, after not seeing Daisy for some time, she appears to the Mario Brothers apartment.
3-week time period.
Comes up to the Mario Brothers apartment, fully decked out, and like ready to go, battle armor and a sweet rifle. And she says, "You're not gonna believe this." And then Mario says, "Oh, I believe." And then the sequel never comes. And that is the end of the movie. So they go over. We're going to talk a little more about the settings of Mushroom Kingdom, what made it so different. I don't want to get too much in the plot, but that's basically it. They go to the Mushroom Kingdom, save Daisy, eventually defeat Koopa, Bowser, and his minions with some new characters and some old, and eventually they save the day. So, did I miss any points? I think I got most of them.
You could have missed so many points and it wouldn't have mattered. Let's just get into this.
Yeah, so let's go into our discussion, and you're going to hear a lot of stuff, and yeah, it's an interesting one, so stick around as we discuss Mario Brothers.
Bromantic Discussion.
All right, let's get into this steaming pile of
Awesomeness.
Primordial
Ooze?
First of all, let's just start with the very, very weird question. Why the hell did they make this movie?
All right, so I will say this. First of all, I want to start a little bit more generic. First off, I want to say, overall, we're getting the bro scores for specific, but Bro-Ometer scores. But, how did you feel about this overall? Because I'll say, for me, it was terrible. It had its moments, but it was. There's no denying that it was awful.
Let's just say this. You know me. Like, I will give any movie a chance. I will even give bad movies. I'd be like, it had some redeeming qualities. This is one of those movies where, as a kid, it's nostalgia, right? We grew up watching this movie. Once again, I love Bob Hoskins, love John Leguizamo, love Dennis Hopper. Yeah. The characters in it were, they're awesome. This is one of those movies where I couldn't wait for this to be over. I had to watch this for the pot, and I was like, I don't remember it being this bad, but I was like, it's one of those movies like where if I was in the movie theater, and I think I did see this in the movie theater, I would have walked out at this age. Now looking back at this, but I couldn't wait for this movie to be over.
It was, I probably wasn't that far. I did enjoy it. I was happy I watched it again. There's definitely a ton of stuff I forgot or blocked out. The traumatic experience.
It was a traumatic experience.
But there was some, I completely forgot about the detailed explanation in the beginning about how there were two separate worlds. I remember them being dinosaurs. I remember how they worded it. I guess I appreciate that they at least acknowledged the theory of evolution. Even though it's crazy how dinosaurs somehow evolved to exactly like primate humans. Even down to the skeleton, because one of the main characters dies at the end. You see your skeleton, it's like perfect human. So that's weird.
It just reminded me of a kid that thinks they're smart, messing around on a Wikipedia page, like with some of the facts and everything that were just thrown out of there. Like they were just editing.
That almost implies innocence. I feel like this has to be malicious.
I guess so.
This is someone who wanted to misdirect.
So. With that being said, like I said, here on the Reel Bromance Podcast, we're reviewing movies. We're talking about movies. We're going to give them all a fair shake. So, let's be fair. This was actually the first Hollywood movie based on a video game ever.
Sure, they didn't make Pong?
No, this was one of the first ones.
Yeah.
So there was no blueprint. There was no rules. It was just kind of just like chaos. And Nintendo with this kind of basically said, "Go ahead." And I'm
surprised because even back then they were still protective.
But let's just say this movie was so bad, Nintendo went to the mat, tapped out, and said never again until 2019 with Detective Pikachu.
Wow.
So 1993.
Well, I mean, they had the animated Pokemon movies. Were they involved in those?
I don't think so. But like when we're talking live action.
Live action. Fair. I mean, one of the things that struck me is it almost seemed like Hollywood wanted to make a sci-fi movie. And, because if you take all Mario characters and Mario references out of it, it's a post-apocalyptic sci-fi movie where there's just this, like, terrible, terrible city with, poorly run by the management, Koopa, and they're trying to take over our parallel universe because ours is clean and nice, so they want to keep it. So on that level, at the very basic, I could see them having an idea. But now someone probably said, too generic, throw something on there.
Here's where the issue comes in. Literally weeks before, like, this thing went into production, Disney bought the rights to it. And Disney...
Really?
Yeah. So originally the directors were a husband and wife team. It was Rocky Morton and Annabelle Jankel. They had some success back in the 80s with, I think they had Max Headroom. They did one of those kind of things.
Gotcha.
They wanted to make it cyberpunk, like very much geared more towards like adults. And some of that, all this, so when Disney took this over, all these sets were built. And these sets were built actually in North Carolina, like in an old cement factory. They had built all the stuff, and that's why it was all cyberpunk. Disney came in and be like, no, you have to edit this down. It has to be changed into more kid-friendly. It didn't have an identity because Disney wanted it one way. These two were, and I think we talked about this before we started, everybody that worked on this hated being in this. Hoskins and Leguizamo would pass it. They were making the best out of a bad situation. They would drink.
I remember. I heard about that.
They said Bob Hoskins said it was an effing nightmare.
What was it? What got him down? Was it the story or the conditions?
So it was everything. It was almost like a hostage. It was supposed to be a 5-week shoot. It went 17 weeks.
Oh wow! Okay.
So it was the directors. The directors were described as, first of all, it starts with the directors. They were control freaks. They were constantly rewriting stuff, and there was no communication between the two. So one would make a change, the other one wouldn't know about it. There were so many script changes that after the first few days, that the actors stopped looking at the scripts as they came in daily.
Oh, wow.
Dennis Hopper, he supposedly harangued the two directors for 3 hours, like delaying filming for a scene.
If somebody wanted to explain what the word harangue meant, what would you...
Like harangue meaning like basically yelling at them, not giving them a chance to talk, like just yelling at them for 3 hours straight about how piss poor they were doing as directors.
Talking about Dennis Hopper, I do want to talk about his character for a second, because to me,
once again, we're talking about the actors. It's almost like Raul Julia. We were talking about Street Fighter.
Worse, because it's like they barely even took the name, because like Bowser never made it into this. It was Koopa. Yeah. At least M. Bison still had the outfit. Yeah. So for those that don't know, and if they're watching the video, there'll be a picture here. Bowser or Koopa in this is basically Dennis Hopper as Dennis Hopper, but with like this weird hairdo, cornrows, like
of course that was all gel.
Yeah, it was like gel, like spikes going back.
Yeah,
it just made no sense. It didn't look anything like Bowser you would expect or Koopa. It had nothing to do with it. The fact that and one thing I caught was funny. So we find out in the movie relatively early on that he's from his. I love it too. Everyone evolved from specific dinosaurs, which doesn't work either. You didn't evolve from one specific chimp. Yeah. You didn't evolve from the dumbest one. But no. But he's like, I evolved from a Tyrannosaurus Rex. And if you noticed, I noticed this right in the beginning before he even said the first thing. He walks like this.
He does. Once again, he does the whole movie. He kind of walks with the two arms.
I never caught that.
Yeah, I never. Yeah, as a kid, never noticed it.
I was like, wow, he actually. So I was like, oh, he's showing there's a scene where he like tries to talk. He meets the Mario Brothers for the first time in the prison. I see him walking. There's like a quick scene of him walking around. I'm like, wow, is he doing that on purpose? And I saw him do it again later. I'm like, he is.
Yeah, he is.
So that's his Tyrannosaurus Rexum, and it doesn't make any sense because obviously, for those who aren't familiar, in Mario Brothers, Bowser is supposed to be like a Kappa, like a demon, supposed to be
in the video game.
Yeah, in the video game. Okay. It's supposed to be like a kind of like an evil like demon turtle like dragon kind of a being. He's never was remotely a dinosaur. It's almost like they took, because this movie came out after Mario World, and Mario World did get into the dinosaur land. That's where Yoshi came from. So it's almost like they took that and just made that go wild with everything. Really, that wasn't really what Mario was about.
Yeah.
I think they're just trying to capitalize on the latest video game. I mean, Yoshi was the best part of this movie.
I mean,
the
Yoshi,
cute little animatronic dinosaur.
He was, doing the research for the movie. He was a puppet, right?
Yeah.
He would look absolutely amazing because it was all practical. It took 9 puppeteers to use him, 200 feet of cable, and it was like he can only do 64 movements. There was like 200 feet of cable shoved inside that little puppet. I feel like he was overly affected, like just made for the.
Well, 63 of those movements were adorable.
I mean, he was.
He gets
cool.
stabbed. I felt bad.
As a kid, you still felt bad for you.
I still thought as an adult. I was like, oh my god, this movie's terrible, but they stabbed Yoshi.
The puppet deserved a better film.
Yeah, he did. Puppet did. I hope they used it in something else. It was just and one of the things I noticed too with the characters is they have so much Mario history to use, not only the character designs but character names and backgrounds. But they still made up original characters. You know, they still had like Spike was one of the main henchmen, and I think that
Iggy.
And was it Iggy?
Yeah.
So Iggy is actually, I think that's the name of one of his kids in the game. So that one makes
Spike was too. Or
Spike. Spike may be the other guy. Maybe he's from Mario 3. He's not one of the children though. No.
Okay.
But yeah, so we'll look that up and make sure. But yeah, I just feel like that Lena lady who was like, there's another woman who was working with Koopa that as far as I know was never part of any video game.
Yeah.
Just randomly, she just acts as just like an enemy for Daisy. Like basically, that's her kind of main adversary.
Aunt Petunia from Harry Potter.
Yeah, I know. I saw that. I'm gonna look at Aunt Petunia in a whole nother way now. And when did you guys catch my drift? The other thing too is it's like I understand they wanted to do probably with the newer stuff, but the fact that they didn't use Princess Peach at all, you know, and most people wouldn't know Daisy unless you played Mario Land, which was the Game Boy game, everyone. So in case you're wondering, playing at home, Daisy didn't appear in any other games until much later on, like Mario Kart and things. Otherwise, you never know who Daisy was. Different princess. So she wasn't there, and on top of that too, it was just, you know, not having Daisy was ripping apart Toad. Toad was a joke. So.
I feel bad because he was actually like a cool character, and he was anti-Koopa, and then he just got turned into like the Goomba, which is crazy.
And the Goombas in this, are they small little mushrooms around? No. Basically, the Goombas and the Koopa Troopas, as far as we can tell, are giant, big bodies, seen here for those people watching the video, with tiny little heads. Either you have a dinosaur head, which I assume is the Koopa Troopa, or you had a little mushroom guy head, which is probably the Goomba. And they basically, that's what they do. And in the movie, in the context of the movie, they make these creatures by de-evolutionizing them. So
machine.
Yeah, it's a machine they de-evolutionize. And it's just, and that's what they do to make them mindless, basically giant brutes. But the other issue I had was too, they had a perfect way to make a nice cameo for Mario's actual first time girlfriend in the video, is Pauline.
Mm-hmm.
That was her name from Donkey Kong. Instead, they made the girlfriend Daniela. It's like, why wouldn't you at least do the minimum? Like, he had it, but when it wasn't Peach, it was another girl. Like,
once again, because this wasn't going to be true to the movie. They you know, like I said,
it wasn't even true to the game. It wasn't even
the game. Sorry.
And but it wasn't even like remotely even referencing the game.
But the original script was. The original script for this movie was, but it was going to be more cyberpunk, and then they changed it.
Still kind of was cyberpunk though,
because they couldn't change all the script, all the sets. It was already made.
The steam powered shoes, powered by a bullet bill, which is funny because it's like
there was a lot of references in there. There was bullet bills. There was like the boom boom bar. There was also thwomps.
The thwomp was on the boots, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think it was thwomp boots. Yeah, I mean there was those kinds of things.
It just, and the other thing, with it, which is funny. So they had the thwomp boots. There's no other power ups. They didn't have any like fire flowers or anything like that. No mushrooms.
No, they had the guns that shoot it.
Was shot fire. I say
that was their
fireballs. And Bowser uses it. It's like shooting the fireball. One thing I didn't know is their weapons were funny because not even weapons, their computer systems, instead of having keyboard and mouse, they use little shooters like a zapper. And then he has a zapper gun, a little light gun they use. That's how which is ridiculously weird, but also obviously just like a nod at Nintendo. And then for their de-evolutionary guns, you know what those were?
Those were Nintendo
Super Scope 6. Yep. I remember, I was like, oh, man. So they basically just using that. So I'll give them credit there. That was nice. It was a little nod, a little tongue-in-cheek. But I liked it. It made sense for that. My biggest gripe was I got to talk about the setting. I'm rambling on this, but the setting, I love the fact that everyone knows that the Nintendo games have always taken place in...
it was
Mushroom Kingdom. So because they needed to somehow tie in Mushroom Kingdom to this post-apocalyptic New York, they decided just to de-evolutionize, de-evolve the existing king all the way down to, for some reason, the fungus, which makes no sense because fungus is a different animal kingdom. It's a whole different, like, you wouldn't just magically become a whole nother type of...
Who would have thought this podcast would get so educational?
I know. You know what it is, though? It should take 1 second of reading. So anyway, that's what they did. He de-evolved into a fungus, which is basically just disgusting. As a kid, this grossed me out, and it really grossed me out as an adult. Like, he basically becomes this gelatinous blob, and it's still over the throne room, because why not keep him there? And he's just gross and dripping ooze and awfulness, and he basically grows his fungus all over the city. So in the whole movie, every time they're in the city, all you see is this, like, I assume they probably use latex or something for like a latexy kind of material, but it's the fungus all over the city. So even Koopa at one point calls it the Mushroom Kingdom because of that. And I was like, he said the thing.
I feel like this podcast is going like all over the place. Like we were like this movie, and it was like it is. This just goes to show, like, you can't even have a coherent thought, like, talking about this movie.
Yeah, we're not sticking to our script, just like they did.
Like I said, I love Dennis Hopper, I love Bob Hoskins, and I love John Leguizamo. Like, the cast wasn't bad.
Yeah,
they made the best out of a bad situation.
I did.
It was like Hoskins didn't even know what Mario was until his son, like, he told his son, is like, his son asked him, "What are you working on?" And he said, "Mario Brothers," and his son had to show him what it was on his Nintendo at home.
Wow. Well, why did he take it then? I feel like it was a little bit of
He said Bob Hoskins says this is the worst thing he's ever put out. But Bob Hoskins' son, like, actually enjoys it because it is, like, once again, for what it is.
Yeah.
It was a lot of hard work going into there. And like he said, if you take it for what it is, and it's a core childhood memory, like, which I think it is kind of for us, but watching it now, I feel like it kind of ruined, and that's what Bob Hoskins' son said. He didn't want it to, like, his father's remembered by it. And it's true.
Yeah. I mean, well, to be fair, I think most people hopefully would remember him from Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I think that's it.
Well, that's the problem, too. He didn't want to do really a kids movie, and he took it originally because he thought it was going to be more that cyberpunk, like, more adult-themed movie. He didn't want to do it.
Which is silly, because at what point in Hollywood did they think, because at that now, for instance, if you wanted to make a Mario movie that was geared toward adult, it makes sense because we grew up with it and we are adults now.
Right.
At that time, kids were, like, Mario was mainstream for, 4 or 5 years at that point, really mainstream. And most kids are going to be 10 years old. Like, you couldn't be, there was no adults yet that grew up with Mario.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of tough. I don't know. I think, once again, it's this, a lot of what these directors did, especially like Rocky and Annabelle, like their genius was really just kind of disguised. It wasn't really, I think it's like anyone comes up with an idea, right? And they're like, we're going to try this, and you throw it at the wall. Not everything should be made. Not every idea is gold.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happened. But then, of course, it got purchased by Disney. Disney interjected, let's make it more kid-friendly. And it was like,
ultimately, that probably was a better direction. Because even I don't think if it stayed as an adult movie, we probably wouldn't have gotten to see it as a kid.
Well, we probably shouldn't have. One, it was probably like the first kid movie fueled by alcohol.
I know.
Because all the actors were method acting whiskey. And then even in the scene when they go to the Boom Boom Room, actually, did you watch the scene again?
Yes.
They were actually, those were hired strippers.
Actually, that's funny. I think it's in both of our notes to talk about this scene. So just to get it clear, so at one point when the MacGuffin, that's a movie term, the item that basically the plot revolves around, is a piece of the meteorite that separated the two universes. So throughout, they're basically Koopa's trying to get a hold of it so he can put it back into the meteor, because that'll obviously make the universes merge.
One small piece makes it.
That's it. That's, it's like Tetris times a million. Disappears. So at one point it ends up in this nightclub called the Boom Boom Room, and with a very intimidating bouncer who Mario has to get the necklace back from because she found it and wore it. But yes, this scene I thought was so over-sexualized. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Even the dance Mario does going with her, like eventually he puts his head right in her chest.
Yep.
Things like that. I was like, whoa, like this is, and I know I saw it as a kid, but I didn't remember it like specifically because as an adult watching this.
Some response.
Yeah, I was like, wow, like it's out. There's no place for it in a Mario anything, Nintendo anything. It was so out of place. The whole scene, yeah, those very scantily clad women, just really weird stuff, or a lot of drinking, a lot of adult stuff, and it didn't. The crazy thing is, it didn't add to the story. It didn't need to be there. There was nothing that made that worthwhile. And this is why I think it looks like another sci-fi movie they just wanted to make.
Yeah, and it was ridiculous too, because they ended up. I know they were. So at one point, Iggy and Spike, two of the main like bad guys or the henchmen of Koopa, ended up turning sides because Koopa evolves them into smart people, and they were actually funny. They were actually smart. They were funny.
Yeah, they were okay. I'll place it. Yeah,
they ended up dressing them, and Luigi's dressed in a red suit, and Mario's dressed in a yellow suit.
Yeah,
which I mean, if you wanted to keep to everything, like I know it wasn't their plumbing garb, but they could have. Been green or red.
You give us a nod to the real colors. So yeah, they dressed him up, and it even said like they made a joke about something a woman wear, and he said it was his ex-wife.
Oh, his wife, yeah.
We don't have to get into it, but the actor that played Spike was a problematic actor. I don't know if you know anything about him. Do you happen to catch his name? I always forget his name.
I always forget his name too.
But
I gotta continue with your.
So, because anyway, the actor himself, he played an Indian character in Short Circuit movies, and so a lot of people go back and that was him.
That's weird.
So a lot of people didn't know that. A lot of people thought he was really Indian, and then found he wasn't. So people got offensive to that. He also had some issues on Friends when he guest starred there, and he didn't. It just didn't.
Richard
Fisher Stevens.
Oh, was it Fisher?
Yes,
was it Fisher Stevens?
Fisher Stevens, that's what it was. Yeah.
Oh, not so Iggy. You played.
Yeah, Iggy.
Okay, Fisher Stevens. Yeah, okay.
So he was, so he was a little problematic, but at the time, he was all over the '80s.
Yeah.
So I think that's what he was in Hackers. He's the bad guy in
Hackers. Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, so it was just a oddball cast, weird scene with that boom boom room stuff. It didn't need to happen. I think what did you think about because this is one thing I'm really out of nowhere in this movie. All of a sudden, there's the escape scene through the cold vent on a mattress with the honestly awesome soundtrack. Did you hear that? There's like a heavy metal 80s, late 80s, early 90s soundtrack. And they're just basically, so to set the picture, here's a screenshot. To set the picture, they are in a giant oversized ventilation system that they previously froze over for some reason unknown, because it didn't really even do anything to the plot besides.
Yeah, it didn't slow down. You'd think cold-blooded animals.
Yes, that's the thing.
Anything.
No science, there's no science coordinator or advisor on this movie at all.
Which originally is why he did it. He's like, they're cold-blooded.
You think that's why they do it? Did nothing. All they did was set up a slippy, slidey tube slide to go down on the Goomba mattresses. They're oversized mattresses, and they rescue all the other kidnapped women who were kidnapped because they thought they might have been the princess, so they didn't know who they were kidnapping. They kidnapped any woman who was in the right age, basically. And Mario leads them all out, and it's a chase scene on two mattresses as the Goombas are on their mattresses. And it's just, it's fine. It's a good 90s. If anything, it was much more Mario than the Boom Boom Room. Yeah. So it was funny. And so there's that. What do you think of that? I thought that scene was a little bit.
I thought it was redeeming. It was funny. Because at one point Mario takes one of his wrenches, which his apron. As somebody who used to work in construction and do that kind of stuff would fall on my apron. Like I'd bend over and stuff would fall. These guys are flipping all over the place, and nothing falls out of their apron. By the way, sorry, I digress. But at one point there's like a hole in the thing, and he sticks one of the wrenches in there, and the mattress the Goombas are on hits it, and they all fall off. But the funny part, which I thought was funny, I forgot about, the Goombas are so big that one of them is like the new mattress.
Yeah, he's riding on him.
The other one's riding on him.
The other redeeming, I'll do another redeeming scene. It's funny, I remember this as a kid, and it still made me laugh today. Yeah, the first part, it's a multi-scene joke, and I'll give it credit for. At one point, Mario and Luigi are stuck in an elevator with the Koopa Troopas, and just to distract them, Luigi starts going behind them and making them dance to the elevator music. And as they do each one, they all start doing it, and they all start dancing. And
it's funny.
Yeah, the swaying down, just going back and forth, but to the music. And then throughout the movie, at different spots, you'll see them dancing. Yeah. And randomly at the end, Koopa gets a radio message saying the Koopa Troopers won't start dancing again. It was just funny. That one, and even the pizza joke was good too.
Yeah.
Koopa orders a pizza at one point. It's a stupid, throwaway joke, but then he keeps going out. And then at one point, randomly, 10 minutes later, he's like, "Where's my pizza?"
Yeah.
And then at the end, when it's like, "Your pizza's ready," it's like, "I don't care about that pizza." So there was some stupid throwaway jokes.
There's some stuff in there that, like I said, funny. Like one of my favorite lines early in the movie where he's like, they're at dinner, and he goes, Mario. This is towards the beginning when they first go out to dinner. Like they ask Daisy out on the date because they meet Luigi, Mario, and his girlfriend. And Luigi's getting excited about something. He goes, "Easy, Luigi. There used to be Dodges here too."
Oh yeah, that was good. I was like, "Yeah, you used to be dinosaurs on Manhattan." Yeah, relax, Luigi. It used to be Dodgers too. Yeah, that was
Hoskins.
He was good. The redeeming qualities of this movie are going to be the few of the jokes, and the actors and their characters. I think those are what's. That's what's going to make it justify my 98 Bro-Ometer score I'm going to give it. I just kidding.
I mean, like I said, the actors were great. Dennis Hopper. Dennis Hopper's he's Easy Rider, Apocalypse Now. Like he's a great actor. I just feel like some of these things were just kind of like thrown away, and I feel bad because like I feel like a lot of these guys' talents, like thank God a lot of them got past this, and this wasn't how they were remembered.
Yeah,
but. I mean, Dennis Hopper took this role, and his son was 6 at the time. Because, Daddy, why did you play? You're a great actor, but why did you play such a bad King Koopa? And then 18 years later, they talked about it again, and I guess his son brought it up, and he's like, "Well, I took this role so you could get that pair of shoes." And he goes, "Dad, I didn't need the shoes that bad."
So one of the things I was actually talking to my brother about this movie, and one of the parts of the movie that always bothered me.
Yeah.
Was the need for those boots that launch, right? And he made a good point in terms of, do you think, was that a callback reference, because it did come out after, to Mario 3 with the green boots there? Because there was a boot where they got into, so there is a boot power-up in the Mario world. Is it that exactly? No, but it does let them bounce. It does give them, like, it'd be almost like, so I wondered that, if there maybe was an attempt at an actual reference.
To me, I think personally they put that in there. Because, once again, what does Mario do in the video games? He jumps really high, he hits, like, coin boxes and stuff like that.
And he never once comes down on a bad guy in this.
Bad guy,
you think he would at least do that with the boots? Nope.
The closest we get to that is Mario swinging from a fixture, and he kicks a Koopa Trooper. That's right. Landing in somebody.
Yeah.
But I think they put it in there for that reason. It fit in the movie, also with the cyberpunk thing. Who knows? They probably had those things designed for the cyberpunk. But I mean, you could have used the mushroom, because there was fungus, there was mushrooms there. They never, the fungus, just trying to show you something. All it did was the fungus just moved and pointed them in which direction.
It did give them the bombs.
It did give them the bombs, but once again, it was in like that weird, almost, the kids nowadays would call it cheese pool looking thing. That kind of comes down. So I don't know. I think it could have been, once again, it's done, it's over with now. We're talking 1993, but.
Yeah, no, that was, I guess they could have at least, I agree, they should have done the power-ups. Something just didn't make sense. Like at the end when he uses when Koopa uses the de-evolver gun, he uses the mushroom to block it. And it's like, why would the mushroom even block it? Why would it just doesn't, and it's like just to put a mushroom in there. So I probably should just have a screenshot of Mario holding a mushroom for the movie.
Also, what too? They probably didn't put any of those power-ups or anything, because what would have happened? Well, I mean, I don't know. Kids probably would have started grabbing wild mushrooms out of the freaking off the ground or something like that. I don't know.
Who knows? I mean, I think they needed wild mushrooms to recover from this.
I mean,
certain types of mushrooms.
It's funny. Like, do you know how many people got? Bob Hoskins got stabbed, electrocuted, almost drowned, and there were so many injuries.
And all that was better than this movie.
And he in this movie that's what happened. And then he actually at one point, John Leguizamo actually broke his pinky in the Mario van. Like he went in one of the chase scenes, and then John Leguizamo was so drunk at one time he actually got hit by a car.
Oh my God!
And that was just what happened to a few of these people. Like, it's crazy. Like, this
was it a close set? Like, didn't you say they filmed on like that?
In North Carolina, out in the woods. Yeah.
So that means it wasn't like a random.
No, because remember they had those electric cars like driving around and stuff like that, and they were filming a scene, and everyone was drunk on set.
So crazy. Yeah, I mean, it was it was a movie. One thing I was surprised at, like, comparing it, I think we'll take a little bit of time. We should compare it to the Mario Brothers movie with the animated that came out a few years ago. Because there is some things that I thought were interesting. They kept like, and it's funny, my son was watching some of this and he made the parallel. But like in the beginning of this movie, first off, both accesses to the other dimension, the Mushroom Kingdom, is through the sewers.
Mm-hmm.
They both, the movie starts with a flooded sewer to get them down there in the first place. Yeah. Luigi goes in first, just like in the other one. He goes after Mario, goes after to save him. There's just so many parallels there. Even what I was even more shocked about, they even went into, and you probably know more about this because you saw the extended version, but they had a rival company they were going with too. In the cartoon was Spike.
Scapelli brothers.
Which supposedly there was more to it.
Supposedly they were connected.
Yeah.
Scapelli, like they got called to like a high-end restaurant, and Scapelli brothers beat them there. Yeah, and they kind of pulled them in the extended version because, like I said, I couldn't find this movie anywhere. I had to go. I really appreciate Internet Archive. They actually have like a completely edited movie of this, so thank you, Internet Archive, because I couldn't find it. And yeah, they pull them in there and almost like a Goodfellas-esque type scene. They're like, you know who my boss is, you know what they're doing.
Yeah, that was the standard.
And then they ask the owner of the thing, "You're gonna go with Scapelli or Mario?" And they're like, "Scapelli." And then Scapelli makes threats to Daisy at one point. He's like, "You're a smart girl. You'll be out of here by tonight." You know.
That's a good accent.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. So yeah, that whole subplot was going on. So one of the things we didn't talk about during this is is there stories as to why maybe it is hard to find or why it was.
There's a lot of licensing issues. Like I said, Disney came and bought this, and then it was such a flop. And I don't think Disney, I think because it's owned by Disney doesn't want to be associated with such a huge flop. But I think that's the big thing. Because even the DVD, I had to go purchase the Blu-ray because you can't, it's not streaming anywhere. You can't even go to like Fandango or someplace and buy it, and they have every movie. They have movies that are terrible on there that you can find. Like this one was a pretty mainstream movie. It's the licensing issues with Disney purchasing it and the licensure. And it's just a mess.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, one of the things I wonder too is the new movies are done by Universal. Mm-hmm. So I wonder if twofold. One, even if they do have the rights for it, they probably don't want to promote it anymore because it may make people want to watch the other movies and send them to Universal. To
be honest with you, this bombed, but there's a huge cult following for this movie.
There always is, like
people love it. Like I said, and somebody took the time that on the Internet Archive, somebody took the time to pull archival footage from the original VHS, the original DVD, the Blu-ray, and they put it all together and they actually added in some of the missed. Wow. Some of the missed things, like the movie, I think the runtime initially is 140 minutes.
Yeah, it's barely
40 minutes.
It's barely over an hour and a half. Yeah.
The one that I watched was 2 hours and 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's a lot. Wow, that's a lot of
40 minutes. There's a crazy one. There's a crazy added scene too. There was one thing you brought up that you wanted to know about. So in the de-evolution chamber, they de-evolve Toad and they turn him into a Goomba.
Yeah. And
then after that, because there's a big thing with germs, like Koopa has a big thing with germs.
Yeah, I was where too. I mean, like
so one of the assistants, one of the techs goes and sneezes, and he goes, "Oh, you're not feeling well. You should sit down." And he puts the tech in there, and he de-evolves him into a puddle of slime. Right? That's where that slime comes from. Because if you watch the original cut, it's Toad gets turned into the Goomba, and then the next scene, to be honest,
Mario and Luigi push Koopa into the thing, and as you're pushing him, you see the green puddle.
Yeah,
and you don't know what that's from.
That's where the green puddle comes from.
So that makes sense.
And then there's another scene when they're in the when Iggy and Spike are in the Boom Boom room. They do a rap about overthrowing Koopa.
Oh, I read that. Okay, really?
Yeah.
Is it any good?
It's not bad actually.
If it was in the normal part of the movie, would you think it would have been additive and it would have been like worth having?
I don't know. At one point they become smart and they go out and they still try to be his lackeys, but then they start to realize like he's a bad guy.
Yeah, because I was confusing too. Because at one point when they are smart and they lead Daisy to meet her father, they say we're always on your father's side. And we're always and I couldn't tell if that was a lie or if that was true even when they were stupid or what that was. I didn't know.
I think it was more out of fear. I can't remember one of my favorite lines. I forgot about this line. Iggy. They're like, if we don't get the right this time, they're gonna kill us. No, he won't. He's not that nice.
that's
he de-evolved them again.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's I don't know. I don't think so. I think they just became smart and it worked out. So
I have one last question. We'll wrap up the discussion. If you were Hollywood, this is like almost like a little mini game. What would the sequel be to you? Like, if you had to make this, what do you think it was going to be? Because obviously they had an idea for something. So she came in, once again, reminder, Daisy comes in at the end after they think everything's hunky-dory. She comes in, looks clearly battle-worn, looks like she's fighting, has like weapons on her, and basically says, you guys aren't going to believe this. And then the Mario Brothers pack up and go, and then we believe, and then it ends. Do you think Bowser came back? Do you think they were going to go to a character like Wart from like Mario Brothers 2 movie, like video game? Do you think it was
I think they would have come up with a different villain or somebody. They would have pulled somebody from somewhere.
It would have been interesting.
One of the video games. I don't know. I mean,
I would hope that they would. I don't know. I mean, I guess because like they really couldn't. I feel like they ended Koopa in this. That was the thing too. And calling him Koopa, I understand why they did. I believe in the American market, people. I think it started from. I could be wrong. I think it started from a typo in the original manual where it was supposed to be Bowser, but they called him Koopa and the Koopa Troopas. But really, it's supposed to be Koopa was supposed to be their name of like the army, what they were, and Bowser was his name. But it got lost. So I understand why for the movie they probably feel at that time we were all calling him Koopa.
Yeah.
Because the cartoons were like that too. They called him Koopa. I remember that. Then Bowser kind of slowly came in the mid '90s. By the time Mario 64 came out, we had Peach, and then we had Bowser. Those were, but yeah, the naming was interesting. He definitely died at the end of that movie. So they would have had
because he turned into Uzi.
Yeah, there's just nothing. He was gone.
I had a feeling there was going to be some other dimension, something else would have probably came up.
Would have been interesting because at the time they didn't really have much to work with. Like it's interesting seeing the new Mario Brothers movies because they have now decades worth of.
Yeah, what was out during that time? Was it Super Mario? Were they up to Super Mario Bros. 3?
Well, no, World came out.
World?
Fourth. Yeah, so that's why Yoshi was in. Yoshi came out.
Oh, that's right.
So,
Yoshi. Because we were in NES at that point. Super Nintendo.
Super Nintendo.
Okay.
So then that came out in 91, I believe. 1990 or 91, depending on what country. And then the movie came out in 93. And then there was no Mario games, mainstream Mario after that would have been Mario 64 in 96. So
that makes sense. The Yoshi. It was early in.
Yeah. So anything else you had that?
I just had some wild castings if you're interested.
Oh, those are always great. Go ahead.
Okay. So who do you think almost played Luigi in 1993?
The issue is, my curiosity comes from, did they want someone, because obviously Luigi is an Italian, I think John Leguizamo was Puerto Rican or something, so I would have thought, like, did they want someone who wasn't Italian and therefore they found the John Leguizamo, or did they like John Leguizamo and then therefore change the character? And if so, I'll pretend they wanted a traditional Luigi, and you know what the funny, I'll say this too, at that time, they didn't have distinct personalities as much yet. They had a little bit of the cartoon, but it wasn't like it is now where Luigi's the coward. And
yeah.
So it'd have to be someone just tall, lanky. I mean, it has to be younger than Bob Hoskins. He's the younger brother. Bob Hoskins is very old, though. So that was you have to have someone
who's older.
All that comes to mind is the guy who played him in the Super Mario Brothers Super Show. That tall, lanky guy that I can't remember his name. I know that was.
He's going to blow your mind.
Who?
It was Tom Hanks.
No way.
Yeah. The reason why they didn't push for it?
Because it was awful?
No, because Turner and Hooch and one of the other movies that he made in 1990 were box office flops. They thought it was bankable. Boy, were they wrong.
Yeah. I was going to say, because Forrest Gump was 94, right? So
I forgot what movie it was. It was Turner and Hooch, I know, was one in 1989.
Yeah, so those are my points. It wasn't after, because it was after Forrest Gump that would have pushed them.
Yeah.
So I think Forrest Gump was 94, so it's probably good. Yeah. I mean, Tom Hanks dodged the bullet.
How about Koopa?
Oh man, he's tough because the role
actually that could have been Koopa.
Well, my issue with it is the role was as a humanoid. It could be anybody because it doesn't have to match like a voice or anything else. So. I would picture any other kind of like 90s bad guy. I could even go so far as to say to think of other villains in movies, but I was about to say the bad guy in Speed. I'm like, no, that was Dennis Hopper. I don't know. I can't think of any.
Quiz, Mario.
I know. What do you got? I can't think of any.
One of them was Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh,
Koopa,
no.
And then the other one, which I didn't think was terrible, Michael Keaton.
I could see that because he could play. You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. Yeah, I'm fine with that. That one could have been okay.
This one I actually liked, and I think if it was actually done, I think it. I mean, once again, given everything that happened, I don't think even he could have saved it. But as Mario.
Mario, Bob Hoskins, I think, really was a good.
He did well.
good.
I have to say, he did well.
The voice was good. Like I believed it. It was it's what I would have expected from Mario at that point.
Well, best part is Bob Hoskins is British, and he
Really?
does that accent.
Yeah.
He was in Roger Rabbit. Like,
I never would have guessed it. He's British.
Yeah.
I don't believe I have to look it up. Who else could have been Mario? So I think it would have to be someone like with the stature, right? Kind of short and dumpy. Well, give me an age range. Were they looking for older, same age, younger at the time?
I mean, he's always, I feel like, been older to us, but he was probably middle aged by that point.
Was he a major actor?
Yeah.
Who else was like a bigger dude? I don't know. I got
Danny DeVito.
Oh man, he would have been fresh out of Batman Returns because that was '92. Wow, that would have been interesting.
That's what I'm saying. I love Bob Hoskins as Mario. Like I said,
yeah, I don't think Danny DeVito could have done it.
It would have had to been more of a. I mean, although he did show his range in Batman Returns.
I can't picture him being like the look of Mario. He maybe would do if it was a cartoon and did a voiceover, maybe. I just can't see him.
He does the Jersey Mike's commercials now, and he still has the Jersey. Let's love above.
Yeah. Oh God. Hey, you trying to say Jersey accent the same as Brooklyn? I think
no, actually not. Yeah, somebody actually killing for that. No, they're completely different.
Yes. Interesting. Yeah. No, I think the casting wise was as good as it can be.
It was everything else that had to.
Yeah, I really don't have an issue with like the casting. I wouldn't say someone was. I think they all did the best they could, and I do think that's what made it from a complete 0 Bro-Ometer score for me.
Yeah, that's the only thing that saves it from I scored the one line for like, who are you? I'm Luigi Mario. Got a problem with that?
Yeah. Mario, how many Marios are between you? It's 3. Mario, and Luigi Mario. I don't know why they need to like make the last name Mario too, because that was just silly.
I think it was supposed to be fun playing.
Yeah. Well, I understood that it is kind of.
So does Mario actually have a last name?
No, I don't think so. And that's why it doesn't make any sense to call them the Mario Brothers. Does sound silly. You know, you don't call me the Andy Brothers.
Yeah.
It's just we use your last name. So all right, I think we're good. Let's. I think we're gonna go to our favorite scenes in the Bro-Ometer score and wrap this episode up. Stick around.
Favorite scenes.
Favorite scene time. You want to guess first or me?
You can go first.
All right. I think your favorite scene. Question. I'll ask this. I think this is okay. Did the scene come up at all in our discussions?
Yes.
Okay. I would say your favorite scene in this movie.
It was the end credits. Sorry.
I would guess because I think I do think you are you said the characters are really what drove this thing. I would say your favorite scene would probably be oh man, something with Mario and Luigi, I think together. I would say Boom Boom Room. No. How about I'll go with the final battle where he brings in the super scope. Luigi basically steps down and they both shoot.
Yeah.
To win it.
You'd be correct. Yeah.
I feel like you change your stuff.
No, I don't. I do like that scene. I like that scene only because I like what it leads to, and like I said, I don't know what it is. I was waiting for the movie to be over, but as like Bob Hoskins always pulled back, like he always had some like, I don't know if it was a script him or what it is or just the way he delivered it. He always pulled in like the negative wisdom, maybe like, all right, this movie is redeemable because of this. So I do like Bob Hoskins in that last scene where they do that, and then they get back into the chamber, and they go through, and Luigi's like just stumbling over his words, and Bob Hoskins goes, he's trying to tell you that he loves you, and he wants, and she's trying to tell you that she loves you, and you need to move on, and I need to mind my own business. And he kind of moves forward with that. So that kind of like where the movie kind of ends, and I like.
And then you encompassed way too much there.
Did you think?
I feel like because like I went to just literally the killing of Koopa.
Well, that end the movie, yeah.
Yeah, so I would say I was wrong. That you went into the scene after that, like that was like the rest.
I know, but I felt like it kind of tied together. But okay, fair enough.
I can't take that one.
All right, your scene. This is tough because
they're all so good. Was mentioned.
I think you like the elevator scene where they rock the guys back and forth.
That is a good scene,
but it's not their scene.
Not my scene. The scene that had me most locked on and grooving it was the sledding scene down the vent.
Oh, shit, I forgot.
I thought that was.
Yeah.
That's the most exciting part. It was the most Mario-esque kind of thing he could do.
Yeah.
And it was over the top, stupid, but good.
You know what I like that scene? Until you know when I didn't like that scene? What killed me? After they shot out of the vent, they're on a mattress, right? A huge ass mattress. They flew like that thing was a piece of like wooden arrow. Like they flew across the thing, and like that thing didn't move. It just kept going.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, the scene ended by then.
Going.
I thought just when they're in the shaft. So, because that was cool. It was a fun scene. The music was good. It was a good action-y scene.
One part of it was because I had the extended cut, and I told you the guy edited it together.
Yeah.
So at one part, sometimes with some of the movie, it would jump back and forth between low quality, high quality, and then
that's
some like a DVD extras.
Yeah.
And that scene in particular, when they're going across there, like you'll see like the running time of like the thing, because that's where he edited it in.
Yeah.
But then there's like a few second clip of a blue screen behind them. Like,
oh, really?
Because they told you pulled some of the things from the DVD. Like,
interesting.
From the DVD.
I was surprised there was blue screen involved in that scene.
Yeah.
Interesting, because I feel like it looked pretty practical with all the...
No, you could tell a lot of some of the screen, but there was one scene when he edited it together, he spliced in a little bit of the blue screen. I don't think he meant to do it, but he spliced in a little bit of the blue screen.
We didn't talk about this in the discussion. One thing I will say, other thing that was redeemed, I'll save it for the score, because that'll be... But so, that's good. So we're both wrong, but that's fine. So are you ready to sum this thing up on the Bro-Ometer score?
Please.
Well, stay tuned. This may be the first scores for first-time things here.
The Bro-Ometer.
Scoring time. One last call for alcohol. So finish the scene and go home. That's
so appropriate for this movie.
I know. So you want to go first on this one?
Yeah.
Listen, I know it's going to be tough, but the barometer can't go over 100. So you have to cap it at 100, okay? I know you want to say 150 to it. Yes, we can't go negative.
Well, we created the barometer. I don't even know how low it goes. I mean, if I could go lower.
It goes to 0. 0 to 100.
I'm sorry. Like I said, love the actors in this movie. I'm scoring this movie a 68. I can't.
Wow, 68. I'm gonna tell you, that was much higher than I was expecting out of you. I thought
the only thing that saved it was the three main characters or the three main actors. I mean, I was kind of thinking with
wow, I'm shocked. Yeah, I if I had to guess your score, I would thought it would be 50 or below.
I almost did it. If it wasn't for them, it would have been a 55.
Yeah. So my score, I'm gonna base it. So one of the things I wanted to mention and during the discussion I didn't bring up was some of the scenery I appreciated. Little things like the hallways had the spiky edges, just like the
there was little nuanced things
like that. So I do appreciate some of the scenery. I appreciate the acting and the role. The characters were good. I had some laughs at it. I like my scene with the sled. So my score, believe it or not, is 90. Now, it is a fair, I think. I'm shocked because with your score, mine's a 65. So you actually are higher than me. I gave it a 65.
How'd you give it a 65?
Because it was just most movies for me, when I approach, I will say start at like a 90, and they can really impress me to go up, or I can start.
You're one of those. You get the score that you get, and then you decide.
To sometimes, this one is it was just nothing redeeming. I know I went into it with low expectations, so I just knew, and I know this is like one of the biggest flops, so it was like hard for me to like start it high. So I kind of started this one low, and I figured, let me see what it can do to build up. And by the end of it, I wasn't upset I saw it. I was happy. Am I going to watch it again right now? No. But the scenery was good. It kept me entertained for some degree. Like, I hate that it was called a Mario Brothers movie. You know, if this was just a really bad, like, sci-fi, like, just a post-apocalyptic movie, fine. Like Escape from New York or something like that. It's almost zany on that level even, you know? So I'm okay with that. But the other thing that I appreciated were just, like I said, the detail. I love the details of the bomb. It was small, but I like the little bomb. It shows it had a Reebok shoe, by the way.
Did it?
The bottom of the shoe, when eventually it walks upside down.
I do. Yeah.
It says Reebok. So I was like, that's an interesting product placement.
There, but I couldn't tell what it was. Okay.
Reebok. So apparently Reeboks exist in the dinosaur world. But yeah, that's what kind of put me. So I give it a 65. So I think that is my lowest score I've ever given on this. I think it's 68.
Thank God you're low. If you beat Jaws finally.
I know. Oh, now I feel bad. Okay, 76. Just to beat Jaws. No, it is.
If you put this movie above Jaws, we're really ending this podcast tonight.
Jaws is just a shark.
Oh
this
my
one had a Tyrannosaurus Rex named Koopa. No, all right. I'll stick with it now. This was a worse movie than Jaws. Jaws was boring to me at parts. That's what really hit me, and it was really good at the end. to the last scene, but like this was just bad throughout with a couple silver linings. That's what I put. So with that, we were going to wrap up our some of the video game segment with The Wizard, but we're going to hold off on that for a little bit. So we're not going to do that next. Our next review is going to be
Resident Evil.
Yeah, this is the newest movie we've actually reviewed. But you know, it's also one of the first, like I say, one of the really big mainstream video game movies. I feel like, and obviously it spawned so many sequels, you know, from the moviegoers and from gamers and non-gamers alike. So we will be talking about that next time. Until then, you got anything you want to say?
Love the movies that you watch. Watch the movies that you love.
Do that.
That was pretty good. Everyone, have a great night. We'll see you soon.